Hello everybody and welcome to the Money Man. Now first of all, let me wish you all a very, very happy new year. I hope 2020 turns out to be a fantastic year for you all. Now, we've had quite a few banknote releases in late 2019 and we've got a lot more coming up in early 2020. But what I want to show you today in this video is the newest addition to my growing collection of PMG verified British banknotes issued by the Bank of England. And the most recent one I got hold of is this one here, which is an absolutely fantastic £10 note issued by the Bank of England between 1984 and 1986. And what I really love about this series of banknotes is that they very prominently feature notable people in British history, and I want to draw particular attention to the character on the reverse of this banknote in a moment. So, if you have a look, you can see that what we've got on the front of the banknote is we've got the portrait of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, who was and continues to be the reigning monarch of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And you know that British banknotes and coinage all feature the reigning monarch and have done for many centuries. So you can see we've got her in a younger portrait of her, because obviously it's from the mid-1980s, with the crown at top. And she looks very, very regal, very fantastic in this one. I really do like this portrait. Now we've got this fantastic sort of floral design in the centre of the banknote, and just right of centre you can see the security strip just running right through it there. Over to the far left we've got Britannia seated with her shield, and this is a notable image of British culture. And if we just turn the banknote up, it's a little bit hard to see, but there is a different lady depicted in the watermark. Now I'll explain who that is in a minute, but you can see we've got our serial numbers right here, which will help us denote the specific year of the banknote. However, I'm not quite sure. Now this one is graded at gem uncirculated 65 with EPQ, exceptional paper quality, but there is one slight flaw in it. You can see there's ever so slightly a slight corner crease. Now I think this is what has reduced its grading a little bit, because otherwise the banknote is in fantastic condition. And I actually picked this up in an eBay auction, and the price was pretty good actually, probably because of the fact that it's 65. So I'm not too bothered about that. However, it does affect its value. So 67, 66 would have been better, but at least it's EPQ, so I'm okay with that. Now, if we spin it around and look at the reverse, you can see the prominent character on this banknote. Now, this is Florence Nightingale, and she was born in 1820 and died in 1910. And Florence Nightingale is a very iconic character in British history, because during the Crimean War, she was actually out helping with the wounded soldiers that were coming back from the battles, and she became sort of known as the lady with the lamp, because she used to go around at night tending to the wounded British soldiers who had been injured in the course of battle. And there is some debate as to how significant her work actually was. There are some historians that say her work at the time was sensationalized in order to boost morale back home in the UK for the war, which was obviously being fought against the Russian Empire all the way over in Crimea. So there is some debate as to how, much of an impact she actually had. But there are many contemporaries that also say that, she actually did help advance the cause of women in employment, and also popularise nursing, and basically reformed its image and made it a more respectable profession. However, if we forget about the contentious parts of history, I think we can probably all agree that, this woman devoted herself selflessly to the care of men who had fought in the field for their country. So for that, she has to be applauded. And you can see that, her life's work, or the seminal moment in her life, is represented right here. And you can see Florence Nightingale, who is sometimes abbreviated as Flojo, or the lady with the lamp, or L. She's got many nicknames, and you can see that she's walking around, and the light is especially bright. Now, the significance of this is, I think this is supposed to be almost semi-religious. You know, she's almost bringing back the light of life to these wounded people here, which is really, really interesting. And you can see that actually we've got a red coat draped over a stool here of one of the wounded soldiers. And it's important to remember that right up until the late 18th century, and 19th century even, you know, the British army was still using the bright red colours in combat. It wasn't until the Boer War against the Boers in South Africa where, you know, the British basically stopped using this red coat colour for their army soldiers. And you can see the wounded soldiers here being tended to by not just only Florence Nightingale but other nurses. And you can see an army officer right here. So you can see that they're basically showing off her work and reminding us of her importance and why she is so popular. So for me, I think it's a really interesting banknote. And it also contradicts the popular narrative that women aren't represented in British history, because they really are. And some people say, hey, well, the Queen represents women, and then they say, well, the Crown is genderless. And then we have examples like Florence Nightingale, who was celebrated by the media at the time during the Crimean War. So I think it's really important to go back and, you know, counteract these arguments of misinformation that say that women were not represented in British history. They absolutely have been, and I think Florence Nightingale is a wonderful, wonderful example of that, and deserves the credit that she gets on this banknote. So for me, I think this is quite an important one. Really, really nice design. Not too sophisticated. You know, basically you've just got one large image and then a portrait, a beautiful portrait of Florence Nightingale right there, and that's pretty much it. If we turn it around and look at the front, you can see it is quite plain, and the colours are not bold. They don't stand out much. However, there is a harmony about the colour scheme of this banknote which I think makes it really, really appealing. So yeah, let me know what you think. I mean, for me, this banknote is filled with fantastic British iconography, wonderful symbolism. I love the fact that Britannia is in the banknote, well represented. I sometimes feel that modern banknotes, Britannia is sort of hidden away, for better or for worse, I'm not too sure, but I quite like to see Britannia featured prominently on British banknotes. So yeah, let me know what you think about this banknote. Would you pick this up if you got it for a good price? I think this is well worth collecting, as are all the previous British banknotes issued by the Bank of England. Really, really nice. So yeah, so much more content to come from my channel. Like I said, I am working on a couple of experimental projects which I'm hoping to unveil soon, but we'll see depending on how busy I am. And we've just hit 600 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. I'm so thankful to everybody who keeps subscribing and commenting on the channel. I really, really appreciate it. So there'll be much more to come in the very near future. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you on the next one. It's the Money Man signing out for now. Bye bye.